Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, my love.
Hey, baby.
How you doing, shiny lips?
Good.
Good.
How are you doing, red top?
Doing good. Normally we're quite matching, black and black or white and white. Thought I'd mix it up with a bit of red.
I thought I'd mix it up with some shiny lips.
Yeah, and earrings. Look good. Good to be with you all. How have you all been? As always, we would love to hear from you and hear questions and feedback on other discussions and practices and all that. But I felt inspired for today's discussion to feed off a talk I was really enjoying by Ken Wilber. I bring him into the conversation nearly every conversation. He's really been a core teacher for us, but in particular, I seem to bring him into the conversation
yeah, you've really
a lot.
Gravitated to him.
Yeah, it's really helped complement the yoga practice and tantra practices and Dzogchen and all that, which, of course, are the core practices of our life, but can get very esoteric and very this old wisdom, which is timeless. But I just really appreciate how Ken Wilber is able to take that timeless, age-old wisdom and bring it into a really integrative and relevant way of languaging it all. So I was hearing him talk about the Zen saying, selling water by the river, which is like the more we seek spirit, the further we get from it, because we're already it. So to be seeking it is to imply that we're not it. You're in the river. You are it. Stop looking for it. In which, of course, you can just read that and leave it, but it's quite complicated because it takes effort to realize that the water's right here, so to speak, that we are it. And I was hearing Christopher Wallace, the book
Harish.
I've got it downstairs, I think, actually. The
Tantra Illuminated.
Tantra Illuminated. So the actual hard copy book is fantastic, but I also have been listening to the audio version of it and really enjoy it because it's him speaking and yeah.
Like 20 or 30 hours of audio book, isn't it?
It's a big read,
dense.
But it's worth
fantastic.
it for any of you that are devoted yoga students, teachers, tantra students, teachers. It's like a necessary read, no doubt. But he was talking about a similar notion of the radical truth is that we are God. We are already awake. We already are what we are seeking. At the same time, using that spiritual truth, we can easily spiritually bypass and cop out to the fact that there actually is a lot of work to be done. So again, Ken Wilber's whole practice of it's one thing to wake up and have that clear vision that, I don't need to sell water by the river. Just jump in the river. You are it. The water's right here. Drink from the well. Drink from, it's all here. You're it. There's nothing ultimately to do. So that's waking up to the ultimate truth. At the same time, there's work to be done. There's trauma to be healed. There's distracted patterns of the mind to be purified and balanced. And a lot of these master teachers talk about this balancing act. Our beloved teacher Lama Surya Das talks about it. He often says, getting there while being here. So let's not get ahead of ourselves and use these ultimate truths to deny our human experience, which is pretty common, isn't it?
Yeah, he would also come out with a saying which I loved, climbing while soaring. So climbing the mountain is that relative truth of you're just here doing the work, climbing up to the mountain, but at the same time, there is this ability to soar, to get the bird's eye view from the top of the mountain. And both do exist simultaneously. However, you can't fake it, because that's when the narcissistic piece comes into it, the spiritual bypass piece comes into it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is when you deny the relative truth and just align yourself with the ultimate truth.
Yeah, Krishnadas talks about that being like the phony holy. So, and it's very, very common. It's seductive, it's quite beautiful, it's charismatic. I get it, like, you know, there's a whole look to it, there's a whole vibe to it, the kind of spiritual ego, the phony holy, in which it's just worth being aware of it, because it is very seductive and sticky and easy to get sucked into. So how do we know? Healthy discernment, you know, a healthy connection with your gut and intuition. And what's the point of inquiring into this? Just like keeping ourselves in check, I think. In our current day and age, it's so common for practitioners and seekers to have a kind of the smorgasbord model, it's often called, of like a little bit of this and a little bit of that, which is what we do. But at the same time, we can see the traps of that, of our current times, of all the teachings pretty much that we're aware of being available at the touch of a fingertip, touch of the phone. And that's great, but I've experienced it firsthand from some younger students that have been coming for privates lately, in which, so I do want to speak to it, because they're starting to teach, and they've admitted the predicament of like, you know, I've been doing this for about a year now and feeling great and inspired and better than ever, and just naturally started teaching, which is great. But I don't actually really know what I'm doing. Like, what am I doing? What am I learning here? And they actually want a bit of a healthy boundary and structure, and again, it's the balancing of ultimate truth with relative truth. So it's an interesting predicament of like a bit of an identity crisis of sorts. Like, what am I actually doing? So yeah, that balancing act of the natural inspiration, and we already are the guru, at the same time being humble enough to admit, no, we're still just a student, and we're still learning, and there's still a whole lot of work to be done. So I often, when people have that predicament, admit, like, okay, like if you want to really, like we've talked about with yoga before, and one of the reasons we haven't rushed into doing a teacher training is because rushing into that role without doing the hard yards and the long hours, you can teach a class, but you haven't really, what Ram Dass would say, like, you haven't really grokked with it. You haven't really like stewed in it and it become an integrated part of your life. So I just try to like reassure them, just keep going, just keep studying, keep being a student. If there's a particular modality that you love, for many, it's breath work right now, which is tricky because most breath work modes don't have like a actual lineage. Some do, But that's where these people I'm thinking of have come into a bit of a thing like, what am I actually teaching? Well, you're teaching people how to breathe properly. Just be honest with that. Just be honest with, like, this has helped me, learning to breathe properly, learning to pay attention, and I'm still a student. This is what I got to offer. So I think that's beneficial, just being honest with where we're at, not pretending to be a guru, not pretending to be a master, just sharing with authenticity and humility.
I think it is a valuable thing to do. The other saying is, you're not going to hit water when you dig a well, right. Digging 100 different little holes. You're not going to. You
got to dig that deep hole.
You got to dig in the one spot. Mm-hmm. However, when you are new to something, it is valuable to try many different things, and that's how you learn. And then there will come a time where one thing you'll have a real authentic connection with it, and that is undeniable. And that's how you know, okay, this is where I'm going to really stop and dig the biggest hole I can dig. And it's from that experience that everyone draws upon as a teacher. As a student teacher, initially you are just mimicking your teacher, and you are hoping that your students will get from it what you got from it. But ultimately, there will be a healthy time when you question that, when you say, well, what is it really about? And that is an interesting time. That is a really interesting time. And going back to your original selling water by the river, I initially thought of the role of a yoga teacher. Why would a student come and buy some water from you when they can just walk and step into the water? And that is true. That is absolutely true. But you are there as a guide. You are there
pointing towards
encouraging, championing. It's okay, it's safe, you can do it. Here, try a little bit, and then ultimately, yes, you want your students to outgrow you. You want your students to evolve beyond you, and that's how this whole ecosystem works.
Totally. Kind of the flip side of what we're talking about. We're bringing in a lot of sayings, aren't we?
I know. Let's just keep going.
We'll title this, How Many Sayings Can We Fit in a Talk?
Okay, what have you got? Casting a net wide?
No.
I was going to say that.
Mistaking the map for the territory.
Yes.
Territory. Mistaking the map for the territory. So, got to draw that out for our non-Australian, non-New Zealand, non-South African.
The territory.
Territory. What? What kind of tree? Territory. Like documentary. Battery. Sorry. So mistaking the map for the territory. So it's kind of...
Territory.
I'm drifting off from what that's all about. So mistaking the map for the territory. So we can get the flip side of what we're talking about is we can get so invested in our method that we forget to just dive into the water, so to speak. Mm-hmm. We forget to just taste the actuality and the ultimate truth and the spirit at hand, which is a trap of it's kind of the typical fundamentalism that comes into most methods and most religions and most practices, where we can take the method too seriously and believe in it too much. But if we are falling trap to that, of mistaking the map for the territory, of pushing it and putting down other methods, we're not really trusting in the method. We haven't really woken up to what that method is all about. Because if we did, we wouldn't be so threatened by other methods. So that's an interesting one to bring in to the conversation, because if you are wanting to, again, dig in deep to a particular method, it's that's also very entrapping to become very righteous about it, very elitist about it. This is the only right way. Everything else is garbage. So darn common, and it's just nasty. It's nasty. I can see when it bubbles up in me, and I try. It's very natural. It's a very tribal type reaction in us, but I can see the nastiness whenever I'm feeling very righteous about what has worked for me, and then putting down other methods and other people. I just try to lovingly witness that that's the spiritual ego running crazy right there, and we just got to regulate it. That's just part of the living yoga of seeing where we're all contracted and righteous, and opening it, clearing it, grounding it, which we can do breath by breath in the moment, and then take it onto the mat and go even deeper. At the same time, it is quite, there's an innocence to it. This just primal, tribal innocence of, this is my tribe, like we've talked about a lot lately, and we've got it all together, and all the other tribes don't. It's very common in yoga.
Yeah, it's very common everywhere,
in
isn't
everything,
it? Everywhere.
for sure.
So, yes, gosh, this topic has come up so much with us, hasn't it, in the last few years? And the work is to, again, soften your stance and be open to listening to countering viewpoints, and at the same time find your people, find your tribe, and be willing to let go of the things that are confusing you. So yes, it takes discernment, doesn't it? It takes a whole lot of witnessing and self-study to know what is the right thing to do in the right moment, because there's no magical formula. Sometime it is right to break outside and hear new voices and immerse yourself in a very foreign environment. And sometimes you need to really activate your self-preservation, and you don't have the bandwidth for that, you don't have the stamina for that, and you need to surround yourself by people who are supportive of your viewpoint. And for a upcoming teacher who is trying to find their voice, that is really important, isn't it? To have your voice nurtured, to have you nurtured at that time when you're trying to figure it out, not to be shot down in flames. Actually, talking about a voice, Soleil, our eldest daughter, just joined the choir, and she was dead against it for the last year. And just recently she said, okay, I'm going to join. And I was absolutely ecstatic, because I feel like there's nothing more important for a young person to have their voice celebrated and supported and heard. And in a choir, of course, is just one way, but I love how you sing together. And everything about it I thought was beautiful. So, yeah.
Yes, for sure. So if a practitioner, a seeker, a yogi is checking in, and they want to validate how they're doing on the path. It's a common one. How am I doing? Rather than just, I took a 180 degree back to where we were going.
Yep.
180 back. So it's a common one, because often modern day students don't have their go-to teacher. A lot do, but a lot don't. And with that, we can feel, quite lost and quite distracted. And what Wallace was talking about in correlation with this, like how do we know how we're doing on the path, and is it worth knowing, or do we just kind of keep going until the end? Which, yes, once you're on it, you kind of have no choice but to just keep going. But he talks about this really potent kind of triple check-in. So first we're contemplating, a contemplative practice of checking in and deepening our connection with who we ultimately are, at the same time cultivating a healthy ego, so that inner development and that awakening. And then in combination with bouncing that back and forth with these age-old books, these scriptures, and from teachers we deeply respect, reading and kind of bouncing our own ideas and feelings off that written wisdom. And then also, checking in with the teacher, like, because often that can be a hard, whether it's a dear friend that is able and willing to tell you constructive truths, or like a great teacher that is compassionate enough but also honest enough to shine the light right back to you of, here's some work to be done. Because without that kind of triple, that accountability, contemplative kind of inner inquiry, combined with keep reading, keep studying, keep digging in deeper to these methods, keep that part of the brain firing, and then having a teacher or dear, wise, loving friend, or a psychotherapist or psychologist. There are some great ones that combine all this kind of contemplative stuff that can really reflect consciousness back to you. That feels like that really rang true for me, because I think that's also commonly lacking in today's day and age, where we've got so much access. We can just be listening to podcasts every day and be getting inspired and uplifted and motivated, and have access again to all these incredible teachings just via podcasts for free. So there's not even a real transaction of energy. We're just getting it. I think the potential risk of that, if we're not actually like literally reading, parts of the brain can become like atrophied, and
your critical thinking.
Yeah, we got to like actually read and actually write, like, so journaling, reading, that keeps parts of the brain firing that don't if we're just listening, I think. And then having a actual teacher that you either check in physically or one-on-one via Zoom or something like that, but that check-in. Again, Ken Wilber's a big fan of having a psychotherapist, having a psychologist, like a good one that can just reflect all these contemplations right back to you, or a good friend. But that does feel like a vital piece of having a potent long-term evolution in these practices, rather than just, I think that is part of the confusion I've been hearing from students lately, because they're hearing all this great stuff, hearing it, and then they go to teach it, and they don't really know quite what they're teaching yet. They haven't grokked with it. It's kind of just seeds planted, but it hasn't quite integrated yet. So if what you hear, if it like rings true, maybe listen to it again and again and again. That's what I've done. And then seek out the teacher or seek out their books and dig a bit deeper. That will help you not just remember the word, the information, but like integrated into your being. So not just kind of spieling it off.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love everything that you said right then. It was long journey. And actually, I have a question. Have you ever seen a psychotherapist?
I have not.
No, neither have
Or a
I. And I went into my own little mind thought at that moment, thinking like, I wonder if I should see a psychologist. And I wonder what that would be like. So,
I know plenty of people that do, and they love it. It's like it's a crucial part of their week, their month.
Yeah.
They love it, you know, especially if they do have a predicament. It really helps them to get that back and forth and cultivate clarity around it. Yeah. I haven't, though. No.
No.
But if I was struggling, I'd be open to it. When I was at my darkest struggles quite some time ago, it didn't come to mind, to be honest. I kind of just hit what my rock bottom was, and I found yoga. So it was the yoga, and from that time, definitely in the earlier years of yoga, it's like you don't need a psychologist. No one needs a psychologist. Just do yoga, which is a truth, because you can really uncover your own innate wisdom and insight. But then again, Ken Wilber's work and Ram Dass, originally being a psychologist, hearing him talk about like the pros and cons of a psychologist, like they're great if they're not identified with their role, telling you what to do, and they're humble in being a reflective, another being, or just reflecting back, and kind of like a good friend type conversation. But if they think they're a great psychologist trying to fix you, and they've got their pen and paper, and he would often talk about that trap. Being a psych himself, he was seeing that in himself, being so identified with being a psych. It's a trap that comes with everything. If we think we are, it's a common trap with yoga. Like if we heavily think, I'm a great yoga teacher, I'm going to fix the world, I'm going to wake up the world, we will hit, we'll either burn out with big reality hits, or just lots of humble pie again and again. If it's coming from that egoic place, which it so often is, because you meet teachers that are truly in their heart and truly teaching from a place of wholeness and humility. It's just not that type of energy. And they can keep going and keep going and keep going. But when we heavily identify with, this is who I am, we will hit a wall again and again.
I'm selling a special kind of water.
Yeah.
Kind of water. You are buying a water that only I can give you, when the humble pie is, no, I actually just got it from the river right here. You can go get it as well, but you might enjoy my vessel that I am offering it to you in.
I like that. Back to the original quote of the talk.
Yeah.
I like that. That was great.
Going back around full circle.
Another 180 degree. But yeah, it's true.
360.
360. But I get it. Like it's very entrapping. It's very seductive to feel special in that way. Like, of course, we're all special, but a big trap with that is I'm the most special.
Well, that's right. That's right. I think the trap is thinking that we're special when the reality is that we're unique. Mm-hmm. And there are two very big differences with those realizations. Mm-hmm. Like unique as in every tree has their unique characteristics, whereas in special is the chosen one. Mm-hmm. So this was one of my mind-blowing revelations on plant medicine was letting go of my specialness and identifying with my uniqueness. Mm-hmm. Insofar as that I was just a part of this living ecosystem, no different from the spider in the corner, the vine growing overhead, the star twinkling up in the sky, just a part of it all, a unique part of this whole big dance of life. And that is shattering for some people, shattering for people who have been brought up with a particular type of helicopter parenting. But at the same time, it's liberating. Mm-hmm. You don't have to live up to this specialness. You can just be your unique self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which goes hand in hand with this poverty mentality that slides right into what we're talking about, often inherent when we really feel special and righteous. And potentially, again, talking about like teachers, if we feel our method is the superior method, if we really pick it apart and dive deep into the truth of it and the shadows of it, if there is that insecurity around it, again, we're not fully believing it. It's really a fabrication of our ego and our mind. Because if we were truly in the riches of that practice, we would be celebrating the success of other people and witnessing the beauty in other methods and other people. Yet, if we're in the shadows of this poverty mentality, this superiority complex, we're so insecure, it's so fragile. So it's a balancing act, isn't it? Again, this kind of triple check-in of checking in with another that you really trust and that inspires you, whether it's a guru or a teacher or a best friend or a psych. Having a regular contemplative practice where we create that, what's often called that tapasya, that inner heat of inquiry that gradually we cultivate insight. And then keep being a student, keep reading, keep inquiring in that way.
Swadhyaya.
There we go.
Self-study.
Self-study. Well, that's self-study. But
what did you say? Just the inner heat. Tapasya.
Yeah. But both go hand in hand for sure. That poverty mentality, that's a thick one where we might feel incredibly virtuous when we're getting the praise and we're feeling in our specialness and our gifts, but then someone else really special comes around and we feel threatened by it or angry about it. It's gone down like there's classic stories of, gurus in India, putting down each other, bitching about each other, putting down other gurus, other methods. So it can creep into anyone and everyone. So we really, if possible, get honest with that shadow part of ourselves that gets incredibly insecure. And if we can be honest about it and put consciousness there and breath there and love there, Richard Freeman would talk about, with that process, the ego becomes like transparent. and more porous. So if we're not looking into it, that self-inquiry, that check-in with another, that combination, that accountability, the ego tends to just get thicker and thicker and thicker, and it becomes this blind spot that everyone else can see, but we can't see it. So through all these practices, gradually the ego gets more porous, transparent, and it's not such a big deal. Christopher Wallace talks a lot about, in Tantra, one of the goals of creating a healthy ego, in which is very refreshing, because a lot of the old yoga practices and a lot of the religious practices and renunciate practices and monastic paths really aim to like kill the ego, destroy it, which just doesn't seem to work. Ram Dass didn't think it worked. Maharaji didn't think it worked. Ken Wilber doesn't. And Christopher Wallace is talking about that as well. That attempt to either ignore the ego in kind of a spiritual bypass way, or suppress it, or kill it, really just gets it stronger.
Yeah, well, it's necessary, isn't it? It's necessary in this experience. What I think in life is to have this healthy sense of who am I? That this is my body that I'm taking care of. You know, it's healthy. It's healthy to have that sense of I-ness, but also just as healthy to realise that that's not the whole picture. And if we get stuck in our I-ness and can only identify with that, yeah, we become very self-centered, we become very selfish, we become very narcissistic. And
let's do another one. In the world, but not of the world.
No.
Awake in the dream.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. Which is it, because you have a psychedelic experience or you have a mystical insight in meditation, and you see that, holy shit, the ego isn't real at all. That's the ultimate truth. That's balancing ultimate truth. Holy crap, the ego is just like a dream type construct. You see through it. That's the transparent ego. You can kind of see through it. We're not separate after all, ultimately. Weirdly, paradoxically, and we are separate, and we do have these egos. So at first it's a big old mind screw of like...
Mind screw.
Yeah,
That's very nice way of putting it.
I got some criticism that I swear too much.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
I did.
Yeah, you do throw the odd F-bomb.
Yeah, I was told it's unyogic.
Okay. You have said SHIT as well.
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
I don't know, but I did get a couple negative feedbacks of, I love this, but you just swear too much.
Whoopsie, sorry everyone.
No, I'm sorry. At the same time, come on. Like, what actually loosened me up around swearing was hearing
Tony Robbins?
Tony Robbins talk
I knew
about,
you were going to tell that story.
Swearing's actually good. Like the endorphins that swearing releases is good for us. So that and hearing other teachers that I deeply respect, including Lama Surya Das and Ram Dass, hearing them swear was kind of funny. It loosened me up from trying to be a good yogi and virtue signaling my goodness. It kind of like it's okay to swear. It's okay to be human. It's okay. So there's a reason behind that. A few years ago, I probably wouldn't have sworn at all doing all this. I would have been too self-conscious. I would have been too identified with
the phony holy?
the phony holy, too identified with trying to be a good yogi. I can't swear I'm a good yogi.
Yeah.
And,
It's not so funny when our 3-year-old does it, however.
I know.
She's really held on to the F-bomb.
No, not lately.
She
Yeah, I
will
haven't heard her do
use
in a
it,
while.
although she does mispronounce it. She says, "fuck." She'll say "fuck," and she would know that it's a wrong thing to say.
haven't
But
heard it in a while.
she'll drop it every once in a while, and it's hysterical and not funny at the same time. Hysterical that she heard it once and has never forgot it, whereas our eldest daughter Soleil heard it once and then forgot the word
No, she knows the word.
well, she does now because she's nearly 9 years old.
But she knows. Doorbell. Where were we?
We were talking about swearing,
Swearing.
but
Yeah, but it's pretty cool, don't you think, to see Soleil knows about it, but knows it's only used in particular situations. So she's not throwing it around like me.
no, but she is not a teenager yet,
Right.
and she will have her time in the sun.
True,
But yeah, I think that's something we all, and maybe this is for a different conversation, but it is something that we all have to come to terms with. Is that words do have power, they do have energy, and what do ultimately we want to be responsible for putting out there.
Could you take that even further? Our thoughts have power.
Our thoughts do have power, but I think there's more of a subtlety to a thought than a word.
Yeah. Apparently, soon enough, that's not going to be the case. Soon enough. I don't want to. That's a big rabbit hole. But
Anyway, no, I think...
Ram Dass would often say, like, imagine, because we can each pick up on everyone's thoughts. I agree with you. Like, be careful what you say. Be careful what you text and comment.
Yeah, so
There's power to it.
Will Smith at the Oscars was yelling out,
Yes.
whatever he was yelling out.
He could have been thinking that.
He could have
but
been
then
thinking
to
it.
act out on it.
To actually act out on it was a completely different experience for everyone involved. So there is a difference.
Yeah. Well, this is a vital part of the yoga practice of honoring that primal, initial, like, gut reaction, and honoring, like, also inspired thought, and then balancing that with rationality. So, like, if I put myself in that same situation and, that really triggered me, it's like witnessing the trigger, breathe in, because it's hard to breathe in fully when you're triggered. So I doubt, like, looking at his body language, jaw tight, gut tight, and there was just no rationality and consciousness coming in. It's a good one to reflect on, because potentially I can relate if someone has insulted you and I didn't like it, and, like, it's a hard force to work with. I say as a man, like, especially when there's that rush of testosterone, like, so we've also got to have compassion and patience for stuff like that. Because in the moment, that blast of aggression and testosterone and, like, it's a real skill to have that rush of reactivity and then to be able to regulate it in the moment. Not many people are doing that. That's like when we look around at the rage, this outrage culture and road rage, and like, it's all that. Like the trigger and then the reaction.
I know I find that I do my absolute worst behavior as a human being on the road. My reactivity is at an all-time, and I don't know what it is, but
I know what it is.
I have, it's dangerous when someone cuts you off.
What's that? Exactly.
And I have flipped the middle finger at someone without even thinking of it, and then just, moments later thinking, oh God, I hope that wasn't a student.
Yeah.
But, what are you going to do?
Well, driving's the tricky one. Like, it's so new. It still
I never
is so
flipped the
new
finger to anyone.
for our nervous
however,
system.
in the car, that just happened.
So we're driving around. We're already at a heightened state just through driving in these kind of, these vehicles that are so new for our nervous system. It's only been a couple generations of driving around in these things. So we're at this heightened state, and then it's a classic example of being able to, like, dehumanize someone.
Yeah.
It's kind of like to say you do get into a crash. I don't know if everyone says praying. It's like, you hit me. Whereas no, two cars bumping into it. Like, it's almost like we identify with the car and can dehumanize the other car. And it's just two blood boiling, adrenaline filled entities just flying around, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then if we're not while driving, like, I love practicing yoga in the car, simply because I know how. Because even looking at a smartwatch while driving, it's way up. So now it's close to resting heart rate, 60 beats. When driving, it barely ever gets down there, even when I'm breathing mindfully, and there's a real elevated state of adrenaline and all that when we're driving. So try practicing to regulate that and calm the nervous system. It's a great practice. Yeah.
I think we have covered many topics,
We have.
and we could start to say our thank yous and goodbyes, adieus.
Who do you want to thank?
I'd like to thank you for that lovely topic. I'd like to thank our community, for without you, this would not be a thing. This would just be you and I sitting here in the dining room.
Probably talking about Johnny Depp. You've been loving that podcast.
Yes, the human species is a very interesting species.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
But it's been cool to hear from some of you that you find it refreshing hearing our small talk. Like, we're not just talking about yoga 24/7. We are talking about it most of the time just because we love it so much. But yeah, Joe's been like digging deep into this whole Johnny Depp Amber thing, and that's funny. Because she's such a yogi, she's such a Lakshmi yogi, yet she's human and she's fun, and she chews on multiple different experiences, and I love that. And it's been cool to hear from some of you finding it refreshing to hear and see, like, our humanness.
I think it's just interesting that it is a breakdown of stereotypes, isn't it? Because
true.
it's not often that you hear about a man and a very well man who is claiming domestic abuse. And
Yeah, it is interesting.
And so I find, and I have been a real Johnny Depp fan for many years, since 21 Jump Street, way back when he first started. And
he's a master actor. He's an enigma. He's incredible.
Yeah, just listening to him on the stand has been it's really has got me hooked because, well, number one, the stories that of both of their behaviours have been terrible, but that just, as I was talking to you last night, and this is, again, way off topic, but, you know, so many people are in these abusive relationships and you just don't even know it. So many people are dealing with this type of dehumanizing abuse from a significant other, and the way that chips away at your soul is really heartbreaking. And I feel like it's a great reminder that we can put people on a pedestal, but really when we look into everyone's lives, everyone is in pain of some sort. Everyone has pain, and yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that and the Will Smith thing and countless other similar cases, and this whole revealing of the shadows of gurus and all that, and seeing the abuse that so many revered gurus. It's been interesting with that, shining a light into places where we thought it was, well, collectively we thought of as these perfect pedestal type situations. Yet it has been interesting, I think, seeing these shadows of people that are so deeply revered, in that they're just human as well. So
Of course.
yeah,
Of course.
having compassion, and
course.
because it's easy to, when someone's at the top, there's something in us that loves to see them get brought down.
Well, we often talk about the predicament of having an adoring student and then saying, how long is it going to be before I get knocked off this pedestal that I do not belong on?
It's a common one.
Teachers, you will know what I'm talking about, that you have to take the adoring student with a grain of sand, because something will happen and you will step out of favour, and all of a sudden you will be, you know, the lowest of the low. But you're not. You're just you. You're just human, and you need to be honest. And I'm really vibing with Johnny Depp's my perceived. I think he's being honest. I perceive that he's being honest. But anyway, we're chit-chatting. Let's say thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
And
much love.
Much love.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you, baby.